What's going on, y'all? It's Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys, as talked about in my Gnome 15 wishlist video, which I'm very happy you guys seem to enjoy that video. I love making those types of videos as well. But I did tell you guys that you would be getting my Outside 4 recap, and it's here with my Tay Roc versus Jay the Nitewing review, which was the main event of Outside 4. I thought overall was a pretty good event. Only one battle, which we're about to talk about, that I wasn't the biggest fan of, but mostly good wraps, if not 2 or 3 battles that I would say were like really good. But I will, before we get into just talk about the battles itself, there's always talk about app drops and the exposure they get, and if anyone's watching them, right? The one thing that I think could really help is simply live streaming the events. You know what I mean? And I don't know why it's been the hardest thing to consistently do that. I feel like URLs really stepped back from that in the last year or two, but I don't think people would mind the drops as much. You need that first night it happens live event experience where people can kind of react to what's going on, right? And then you're going to have people that want to double back for the drops. But no matter how big of a battle or when you drop it or how you drop it, even if you just dropped it straight to YouTube, there is nothing quite like the live event experience. Everyone live tweeting about it online, it being the hot topic, having takeaways that take over the night. So just want to say, really hope they can get to a point where they are at least live streaming these events. One thing not drop on YouTube, but just to have it drop on the app. Some people don't even know what date the event went down on, all types of issues, and I feel like sometimes that makes the battles come and go, but we always talk wraps here. So before we get into Tay Roc and Jay the Nitewing, just want to talk about the rest of the card real quick. So first battle that dropped and first battle I watched was Hansel versus Low, so I thought it was a cool battle, cool matchup going in. I did call this one Hansel 2-1, if not 3-0. There was talk from in the building reports, which seem to always be inaccurate for any of these URL Orlando studio events. In the history of battle rap, when we have no live stream, we have to rely on in the building updates. It's very shaky, so I don't believe anything till I see it. And I do not feel like this was the battle of the night at all. I think their first started out good. I think that's the peak on both sides. There was noise about how Loso had clearly won the first. I didn't feel like that when I watched it, although I did still edge Loso the first round of the battle. I thought that they were both fire. I just thought Loso was a little bit better. But then from there, Hansel took control of the battle. I'm not even really a fan of the battle in the second and the third. I don't like Hansel's angling approach, and I feel like Loso stumbled the battle away, which is something I predicted could have happened. The opportunity to battle on Apollo was enough to get Loso to be 100% serious on one of the biggest cards of the year, but then comes to the Hansel battle, and I feel like he goes right back to being a little bit unclean with his wraps, dry spots, just not looking fully motivated. Some people could say you could still debate the third for him. I just really didn't like his material that much. And as for Hansel's angling, like in the second round, heavy on, Christians being against gangster rap and gun bars and then having to adapt, so they're using them and being hypocritical. It's not that it's wrong. It's actually an angle we've heard since the beginning of their careers. But since we've heard it so much and it's almost so known, you have to reinvent it in a powerful way. I feel like Hansel has these like talk to your soul type of approaches that have a lot of buildup. And then he's not like pulling them off. I'm not like through it thinking it's the most surgical. It feels like a long buildup to something, and then usually that haymaker is not enough payoff for me for how long he takes to go through the topic. Still have him winning 2-1, if not 3-0. I have it 2-1, but you could easily debate that first for Hansel, so it's still a good W for him. He continues to start off 2025 pretty good, but this battle is not what I had heard it could have been, but good W for Hansel nonetheless. I thought Sheed versus Trez is just a good fight. It's so debatable, it's almost hard to go through and really break down the details. The second and third is so close. Only clear round of the battle, in my opinion, is Sheed's first. I just thought he was better than Trez. And as of recent, kind of reminds me of the Arsenal battle. I had heard that Sheed had won in the building. You watch the first round, I feel like there's a difference in energy. Sheed with that highly animated performance, the pockets, he just does more than Trez in the first. Not just lyrically, but he's just bringing more energy to the battle. But then Trez fights back, and I think the second and the third are both debatable. So overall, it's a great outing for Sheed Happens, but I did have Trez hedging the second and third round of the battle. Just thought he had a better second, but they both are still very good in the second. It is a good battle. And then the third, Sheed takes the angle about, I didn't watch this situation live. It was one of the many daily Spaces drama things that get people through the day. But I had heard something about Chris Petty, who is Trez's like friend / manager, I believe, making some comments that were borderlining on racist, rubbed some people the wrong way. And even though I didn't know much about the situation, watch any of the recordings or anything, I thought she'd executed it perfectly, wrapped in not just talking about Chris Petty, but then Trez is rebuttaling, which he kind of tried to belittle or devalue through the whole battle, which I thought was like good strategy because I don't think Trez had too many rebuttals that stuck out, and maybe Sheed always mentioning it and acting like it meant nothing kind of played into his favor a little bit by downplaying it. But he talked about, you heard what Chris Petty said and tried to rebuttal and flip the narrative. Like I thought that was fire, but I think Trez just took a straight bar for bar approach, counterwrote a little bit the Chris Petty stuff in the third, and overall I thought that he had a good round and I edged him the second and third. You could easily have Trez. You could easily have Sheed winning really all 3 rounds because he is the one clear round and 2 of them are debatable. I just didn't happen to have him winning this one, but it's another great look for him. Great 2025 so far, and I had tweeted, I think Sheed Happens is the best battler from that UM4 class at this point that had Kid Slade, Real Name Brandon, J2, Elijah Strait. I think his career is turning out the most good right now, and I hope this push for him continues because he's been making it pay off for URL in 2025. Like I said, I have Trez winning the battle. So debatable and a good look for both of them. T-Top versus J2. I had T-Top 30. I had J2 30ing T-Top. I talked about how J2 had beaten a couple guys because they completely hadn't tried, and the footage isn't that crazy, and he's gotten a W. I was kind of right because T-Top really didn't try. He was fucking around in this battle. A lot of stumbling, a lot of kikiing and ha-haing. Little attacked J2 for being gay, but was cringy about it. We've seen it executed perfectly. It's an angle you're going to keep hearing, and most people do it well. I feel like T-Top was very cringy about it, but I actually don't think this is one where J2 just skated by because his opponent wasn't good. This is a really good J2. He just whooped T-Top's ass in the first. Like T-Top choked like immediately, and it was J2's best round. But from there, second and third, just punching him to death. There's really no other way around it. So J2 3-0 in... He's won all of his URL battles so far this year. Jackboy, Jerry West, and T-Top, even though the first 2, the footage isn't very good. Footage is good on this one. This is a J2 that's reminiscent to how good he was versus Loso without having to face a performance as powerful as the Loso one he faced on Apollo. So I have to give credit where credit's due. It's probably the best J2 performance I've seen so far this year. One of his better ones, top 3, top 4, probably out of all of his battles, and just beats the hell out of a T-Top who hasn't been trying as of late. He's got his league going on. T-Top was kind of last year, even though he got a lot of credit for his wins, had a lot of battles like this where he was kind of stumbling or not caring so much. And I think you're just going to see him go back even more into that because that's what he's been doing here at the start of 2025. We then had Fonz versus Arsenal. Went exactly like I thought. I have Fonz winning this battle 3-0. I do believe the second is debatable, and I don't think Fonz just killed Arsenal. It reminds me a bit of Fonz versus O-Red for people. I think that was outside 1 or 2. That was the one with like Nitty and Souffleur, Twerk and Chef Trez. And he beat O-Red, but he wasn't that crazy. He had like one really good round the first. Kind of just got through the rest. Had to stumble a little bit here and there, but was just better than an O-Red that just wasn't very good. And I feel like in this battle, it's the same thing. Fonz he's good in the first. He's okay, or he's solid in the first, let me say. He's okay in the second, like not great. And then he's really good in the third round. So he ends on a strong note. The whole angle of Arsenal and the plates he brings to the events. For those that don't know or don't go to the events live, it's specifically for those Orlando events, because I have been, Arsenal is like serving plates. Like they cook and they're hustling outside, which is great. But the way that Fonz flipped it, making fun of the food, but still finding creative ways to punch at Arsenal in between. Really like Fonz's third. He won the first. Arsenal choked like 2 seconds in. You could debate Arsenal won the second because of the energy and the flow pockets, but content-wise, like I kind of figured in this battle, Fonz just rapped better stuff, so I still edged Fonz in the second. You could call it 1-1, and then I thought Fonz got after him the third. I actually think Arsenal's third is also his best round, but Fonz's third is the best round of the entire battle, so 2-1, 3-0, however you're going to call it. I think Fonz is starting off the year pretty well, man. He's got the W versus Bill Collector, W versus Arsenal. They just announced him versus T-Top. I think he's going to be going down on that league in Pittsburgh that had Twerk and Real Deal. So that's another top tier. He's been calling out John. I'm assuming he is just going to absolutely smoke Big T on Calico's card, which we'll be doing the predictions for that very soon. Some name value, just building up the resume. I like what Fonz is doing. It continues that with a W versus Ars. And then Av versus Wusa, which is up there for battle of the night. After this, we are going to talk about the Nitewing versus Tay Roc. But this was really good. First round of the battle, Av clearly won. Still a good Wusa round, but I thought Av leveled up on him. The battle comes down to the second round because in the third, not only is Wu good, but Av chokes and doesn't like a little stumble or that. I mean, like, could not get it back. And I've never seen Av do that. I think that's the first choke of his career. Just shocking. It looked like he just lost his place. And I'm going to give some grace because, like, you obviously clearly lose that round still, but you never see this guy do that. And it looked like the crowd jumped early and he just went blank, and that could happen to a performer. But he did lose that round, so it comes down to the second, which is both of their best rounds of the battle. And I did not give credit to Wusa to win this battle or really even compete. I thought that he would, like, fight back, but it would be a clear W for Av. It's very, very far from that. The second is razor close, and I thought Wusa specifically, one thing I want to give him credit for is I said he needs to bring haymakers. I feel like while he's a good puncher, he'll put clever and witty stuff together back to back, but he needs the bombs, the standout moments, and he had a run of like 4 haymakers from the laugh when angling at Av about EFB, laugh when Gotti's talk bad about Geechee, then laugh when Gotti's gone, like 50 Cent. I thought that was fire. Potholes and Av, we're going to fuck the city up with this one. Hand-to-hand combat like thumb wrestling. And there's one more in there. Like, he hit some bombs in the second. But I really liked Av's second as well. I thought that he was bombing the 9-iron on a billionaire like Tiger Woods was crazy. And that whole pocket, they won't see it from my point of view till I give them a grave sight. That was like pure rapping. The voice inflections, the way he built that up, where you're listening, but then there's the bomb at the end. That's a proper long build-up punch, in my opinion. I just love what Av did in the second. You could easily give this battle to Wusa 2-1, second and third. It's extremely debatable, and just that is a humongous win for Wusa, who really overly impressed me with his performance. But I will say, I do think Av was just a bit better, bit more experienced, and had a little bit more in the second round. Great fight by Wusa. I had Av 2-1, second razor edge, first clear. You could debate a 2-1 for Wusa as well. It's one of those where I think both battlers kind of take away a win from this one. Little shocking that Wusa was the one that was able to kind of have that debatable, in the last few years, Av has mostly won all of his battles clear. There was a couple debatables in there, like the Chef Trez battle, and now the Wusa ones. That's a badge of honor for Wu. A little bit of pushback for Av, but 2 other battlers who are starting off 2025 really well. And with all that being said, we can now get into my review for Tay Roc versus Jay the Nitewing. Now here for the review on Jay versus Roc. First round on Jay the Nitewing. The Vampire, one of the times the Vampire is more safe in daylight. I thought that was cool. Pulled up in a Pontiac. I could care less for your tranny issues, which we not always a fan of when people use the tranny angle versus Roc, but with the Pontiacs having the bad transmissions, I actually thought that was a clever flip. Y'all say Roc's the boat, best of all time, until y'all lose another legend of wing. So the Aaliyah bar there, I thought that was creative. He had this kind of like Mike Tyson scheme, Customato, despite what you heard, kind of making fun of Mike's lisp a little bit. So I thought that was clever. When he tells me to take caution, it's not a warning. He's trying to bargain. I thought that was funny, but also a bit fire. He's walked into my garage and it backfired. He got exhausted, like a car exhaust pipe. Thought that was dope. The Vampire, next time y'all see the Vampire, he's going to bite down on a bottleneck. I thought that was crazy. And then the best bar, in my opinion, of maybe not the best bar of his first, but he's versus the knight who Lancelot, versus the man from Merlin who hasn't been winning on Camelot. Lancelot, Merlin, the wizard, Camelot. That just goes to show the writing in Jay's first. And I thought when I watched it the first time, I thought it was a solid first, but when you really start writing it down, it just gets better and better. This is a pretty crazy first round. Uses the chain angle a little bit against Roc. Xavier, Magneto, the shit I can create can get way too cerebro, which is kind of the system that Charles uses to find the other mutants. I thought that was crazy. Turn your cave into a tunnel. I thought that was fire. Share tears with a clown just to find out that everything floats. I thought that was fire too. So really strong first from Jay the Nitewing, and then Roc goes in the first. Starts off with some comedy. You are Samoan. that's how he starts the first round. Then from there, you ain't my Ace Amin, Jay Moore of an Optimi. Current event bar with the Ace Amin and Jay Moore situation. The Ali Oxenfree. It was like a hide and night. I had to look that one up. I guess that's a saying used in like games of hide and seek. Nobody like knows the exact origin, but shout out to the Ali Ali Oxenfree bar. Definitely a older reference there from Rock, but I thought that bar is pretty cool. You learn something new every day watching battle rap. Goes into this pocket, and we knew that was going to happen, but I felt like in the first, the rapping ability of both would be key in this battle, and I thought while Jay outwrote Rock in the first, Rock out-rapped him in terms of like how he was flowing through his material. The mask on exfoliator bar that he hit in that pocket was crazy. From the Bay to Vegas, like the Oakland Raiders. Up, if it's up, then shit's got to go down. That's the law of physics. I thought that was fire, but it's the energy. Like, I thought that if Jay was laid back, especially in the beginning, Rock could bring that energy to him to a higher level and match that rapping ability. That's exactly what I think happened in this first round. For a Fiji, it ain't have to be this specific islander, Pacific Islander, specific islander. I thought that was dope. Gun air holes on the side like a Swiss harmonica. I thought that was slick. Hold Jay down until he die like Beyonce. We'll spin the block right. Make a right twice a day like a broken clock. Of course, there's gonna be some wrestling bars, especially versus Jay the Nitewing, right? Calling him Samoan. He goes through the whole bloodline scheme of Roman Reigns, the Usos. The draw for Uno bar was a little cool in between. Send him back home to Washington. Seattle be supersonic. The Seattle Supersonics obviously used to play there. The abortion, fetus aside, abortion bar. I really like Rock's first. It's a debatable first. First time I watched it, I did think Rock won the first clear. I don't feel that way in the watch back. I think you could debate that Jay won the first, and that's what you get for being the writer that he is. But I did still edge Tay Roc that first. Like I said, it wasn't just the content, which you could say that Jay maybe had a little bit more on, but he beat him in the other facets, the rapping ability, the performance, the things that make Tay Roc Tay Roc. So I had Tay Roc 1-0 edge going into the second round. You get into the second round, I think this one's the clearest of the battle, and I think that Jay's second is just by far the best round of the battle. The guns come out for you so much it takes up your round. The gun only comes out for me if I'm not trying to chase you down. Just blunt and brutal to open up the second round. The vampire, 2 to the side of his neck like a vampire bite. Everyone's 10 toes down till that sweep kick. I thought that was fire. Put the chopper down like this is for Kobe. I normally do not like Kobe bars at all. And this one isn't like over the top, but it wasn't disrespectful either. I thought it was cool. And now he's matching Rock's rapping ability. It feels like in this second round, he kind of reference to it in the first, my mad mode versus your AMG mode. Everyone's got like a mode now, but he really steps it up to that rapping ability that Rock was in the second, and that match with the lyricism is just so hard to beat with Jay the Nitewing. Wish he got sat down like a smack crowd. Died Mother's Day weekend trying to make his dad proud. Like, so slick, man. It's just a different way of writing. Broad day up for you. Broad day, it's up for you. I don't care if you're nocturnal or not. Then this bar, man. Think it's moist and Night'll bring the nickel back. You better go find an alternative Rock. So that one's crazy to me because you have the think I'm Moissanite, which is an alternative to a Rock, right? Like Moissanite the Gem. But then Nickelback is an alternative rock band. So kind of, it's not a triple, and people will use that phrase, but it's the way that like both of those relate to alternative rock in a different way. The way that he rapped and it led up to it, he executed that perfect. And not only was that crazy or fire, to me, probably bar of the battle. I thought that was insane and showing Jay at his peak. Rigor mortis, body turned into rock. I thought that was dope. Kyrie, I've been hanging out with Nitty in fourth quarter so much. I'm shooting like Kyrie when it's untucked. Kyrie with the untucked jersey. That was fire. So Jay is just landing them back to back. Beasley threw a rock at a tank like a Palestinian kid. He was wildin'. He was wildin' in the second. And Rock doesn't have like a bad second. He starts like a Jay the Nitewing impression, kind of making fun of his style, a bit comedic. He was rap heavy as well in the second. That's a headshot out of another head, like the Alien movie. I thought that was dope. I stopped being in the clubs because all night bars is overrated. Thought that was cool. The graveyard shift bar, He had a Christmas Carol bar, surround knight on a corner, pawn, rook, and bishop, kind of the chess bar. Those are the pieces that surround the knight when you start the game. The Robin, Nitewing, DC Universe bar. So you got some slick writing here. He even had his own nocturnal bar. Point it up at night. It's nocturnal. So it's not that Roc had a bad second, but I just think that Jay is better in all fronts in the second. I think he matched his energy, the rapping abilities there, and he was not only he probably wrote a little better in the first. The second is the best writing of the battle on either side, and it just he has a. I have Jay having all these good battles. Him versus Sheet happens to start the year. Him versus Ill Will. Now him versus Tay Roc. There's not enough praise I can give Jay the Nitewing. And it's another round like this. He has one round of battle where I'm like, wow. Yeah, like there's no other way to say it. So Jay the Nitewing clearly won the second round of this battle. So debate, I think, 2-0 in my opinion. But for me personally, I had it 1-1 going into the third round. And as for the third, it's one that I thought was pretty clear watching it live, but I think once again is pretty debatable here on the watch back for the battle. So Jay starts out in the third, and he has the refusal. They have a refusal to understand till you got to throw a rose at a stone. The rose at a stone bar I thought was dope. The evolved ape to Neanderthals who can't read the writing on the wall. Little like, I won't say a scheme, but kind of speaking on evolution there, you know, the beginning of mankind. I thought that was decent. And I'm the mad one using dry blood of the last one. It's war paint. The rock song scheme, I think he mentioned like Highway to Heaven, a couple other like all-time rock songs, the Prometheus bar, and even me mentioning the writing. You gotta watch what Jay's doing to understand. It's not as simple as plucking bars out. There's references I can't write down because I don't have to transcribe the whole round. We'll be here for like an hour reading through Jay's material, but it's all fluidly put together. There's no stop in a punchline. Like he's just rapping through, and this content happens to be in there as opposed to rap punch and rap punch, if you get what I'm saying. And that's the mark of why he's such a great writer. Had a little bit of angling in this third, talking about Roc trying to stop his run on URL, Jay's current run on URL, and why that would be unsuccessful, which would further go into getting at Roc for some of his business decisions and not being able to go places when URL tells him. Considering how many leagues Roc went to last year, it's a little bit false, but it's a common angle used against him. That's talking about that's light, then why aren't you seeing it? Like, that's a slick way of setting that angle up and using one of his most famous slogans against him. I'm confused how they snatched your chain while still leaving the leash on your neck. Once again, attacking that angle. Rapping with me is as close as you're going to get to being out of... is as close to being out of your league as it gets. Talking about the bad stock that he's kind of received and why URL's hurt him over the years. And he's going to be river dancing around this Irish goodbye. So more of a tailored third from Jay. Wrapped, like, it feels like, even though clearly he stops at points in this round, just from the beginning to end, there's no other way to put it but fluid. Like, it's just structured so properly and so smooth. And then Roc goes in the third, talking about all the snitching allegations that have been going on in battle rap. If you got the right to remain silent, shut the fuck up and remain, which is kind of funny. Goes into his own scheme about all these different vampire, he used like 6 or 7 different vampire movies. I thought that was dope, especially in contrast to Jay, who had so many vampire bars throughout the battle. Don't you work on cards? Don't you work on cars? Go fix something that's broke. Like, I thought Roc was funny as hell to start his third. The rotisserie chicken got the revolver on Wing. That was fire. I got a few other eyes on Wing, like butterflies. Thought that was dope. Aren't you the mechanic? Talking about Jay being a drug dealer and a mechanic while I spark plugs. Thought that was fire too. So Roc's picking it up in the third round. Hold the mechanic at bay like it's Jiffy Lube. Ghost guns, mines crafted from little cubes, Minecraft little cubes. All that's left is wing and 2 feet like Namor the Submariner from Marvel. He's got the wings coming out of his Achilles. The Darkwing duck bar I thought was dope. Had a little like chicken spot scheme in there that I thought was cool. The grand, it was a grand opening and I was trying to cut his ribbon. Ribbons cut at a grand opening, cut his ribbon. The mechanic but ain't done shit. He's a mechanic, but ain't done shit to uplift his own hood. Speaking on Jay, maybe not giving back to his community. I think it's a well-rounded third. It's more of the straight punching with him, bar for bar approach from Roc to maybe a bit more of a creative third from Jay. But even though in the second I thought Jay did it at his peak, even though while it's still really good in the third, I like just a little bit more of the content that Roc had in the third. I really like the rotisserie chicken, revolver on wing, the spark plugs bar. There's just a few bars in here that I thought was Roc tapping into some of his more creative highs. So I am going to be calling this battle the same way I called it the first time. I had Roc with an edge. I had him clear originally. I have him with an edge in the first round, and I do have Roc edging the third round as well. And so overall, taking the battle 2-1, but it's much more debatable to me with a rewatch, and I bet the more times I rewatch it, Jay just has a pen and a style that ages well for going back to the battle. So if somebody wants to give Jay 2 rounds of this battle, I think particularly the first and the second round, I'm not mad at it at all. It's another very, very good battle for Jay the Nitewing on the year, and another one that you could debate he won, and the more you watch it, the more you probably want to debate that he won the battle. But after a couple watches, I think that not only did Roc at times match Jay content-wise, it was always going to be about how the rapping ability matched. I thought that Roc, they both brought the best out of each other in that facet, and that's what happens when you have two guys that are really good at the same thing, and then I think closed the battle really well in the third. So all in all, I have Roc 2-1 first and third, but it can go either way, and it's really a great look for both gentlemen, and for me, easily the best battle from the outside 4 card. And that is my full thoughts here for Outside 4 as a whole, for Jay the Nitewing versus Tay Roc as a battle, which I'll say once again for me was Battle of the Night. And Jay has been doing nothing. Every battle he's touched for about 2 years now turns into gold. It feels like he's had Battle of the Night on the last 6 or 7 cards he's touched. And as well for Roc, if you look at the start of the year, he's only got 2 battles, but it's the Enes battle, Battle of the Night over there on T-Top's card, and then here, Battle of the Night on Outside 4. So 2 of the best doing it right now. If we had a top 7 or really even top 5 so far in 2025, these guys are holding it down once again, which is just carryover from last year. It's the defending Cody, and then Jay, who I will keep saying it again, has found his second wind, and this is top tier level battle rap. He looks like one of the best guys doing it in the game right now. So was looking forward to this one extremely out of any battle on the card, and it ended up paying off, so that's something to be excited about. But overall, decent, and I want to hear your guys' opinions if you've watched the battles. How do you feel about anything that happened on the undercard from Hansel and Loso, J2 and T-Top, Av versus Wusa, which is the second best battle for me. I thought that was standout as well. Sheet Happens and Trez, Font and Arsenal. Give me all your thoughts on that. And if you're not going to watch any other battle from this, or if you want to get the app and you're thinking, should I get it? Literally get it just to watch Jay the Nitewing's battle so far on URL in 2025. But if you have gotten the chance to watch Jay versus Roc, let me know your opinion. Did you call it the same? Did you give it to Jay, especially the more as you rewatched it and get that greater appreciation? I want all your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below, man. But I'm going to run off and go watch TBL's Point Proven now. So it's been Jay Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.